else struggling to concentrate these days? It's no wonder we're living in the middle of a global pandemic. Huge global changes are happening all around us, and day by day things are shifting, and we're learning how to figure out and adjust to our new daily routines and rhythms. And yet, despite that, I find it's so easy for us to give ourselves a hard time when we struggle to pay attention and focus on a task, and why we feel like we can't get as much done as we usually do. And perhaps this is an opportunity to give us a little bit of insight into the daily challenges for young children in developing their attention and listening skills. When we delve deeper into all of that's involved in learning to really pay attention and focus on what an adult is saying to you, on focus on a specific directed task, then we can see how hard our children are working to develop their attention and listening skills. They're learning how to ignore background noise. They're learning how to pay attention for a longer period of time, and they're learning how to shift their attention from one thing to the next. Understanding attention development is a key module in the Toddler Talk course that I deliver to parents online, because understanding this is such a key part of how we help children's communication development. I'm going to pop a link below to Toddler Talk because at the moment I'm offering it to families on a pay-what-you-can basis whilst we all support each other during our COVID-19 pandemic. So do check that out. If we can shift our perspective on attention development from rather than being a thing that a child is willfully not focusing on, and instead acknowledging all that's involved in really attending, then it helps us to be more compassionate and supportive in helping a child improve their attention skills. So one of the ways that you can really help them do this is to notice when their attention has wandered and help them shift back and talk about it. We are working on attention as part of the whole learning package, rather than why don't you just listen so that we can get down to the business of this particular learning task. Learning to focus is the learning. My husband, who works in a primary school, recently told me about what a child had written in their books for their own reflective learning. And they had commented that when they lose attention, they kindly bring their mind back to the task. What a lovely way for a young person to acknowledge that this is tricky. We don't need to beat ourselves up if we've lost our focus. We can kindly bring our minds back to the task. Now, 3 practical suggestions for helping your child maintain their focus if you're working on something together. First one, think about the pace. There are times when we want to slow down, give a child thinking time, and then there are other times where we really want to switch up the pace. We want to say, okay, let's keep going. Let's try and build a little bit of energy into this, and let's crack on to the next bit. Let's crack on to the next bit. Create a sense of progress. I really like using visual cues for this. So I always have a whiteboard with me when I'm working with a child, and we might create a number of tick lists or even circles that we're going to colour in, or we might use stampers on a page and we'd say, okay, we've got 10 questions to do, or we just need to do 3 more of these, and then help the child to tick off so that they can see, oh, I'm working through this task, I'm attending to it, and we're almost finished. We are almost finished. Here's my 3rd and final tip, which is to not change the goalposts. Often I see parents really keen to get as much practice and work out of their child as possible. And so whilst they said to their child, we're just going to do 5 of these, then they'll say, oh, actually, we're doing so well, maybe we can do 8. If your child is working hard and 5 of whatever your challenge is tough, then stick to that. Tick that final 5th off of the star chart and celebrate the fact that you have completed your task, and really talk with your child specifically about how they were learning to focus, how they were developing their attention skills. It's something that we all have to practice throughout our lives. Let's support each other and acknowledge that even the tiniest of steps that we take together is a step in the right direction. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.